Welcome to CompSci360, the ultimate virtual summit for MS and computer science in the UK. This two-day summit will give you a 360-degree view around everything related to MS and computer science in the UK, with subject knowledge experts and student mentors from top universities. Before we hear from the expert, we want to walk you through the CompSci community on the Nbyula platform, a dedicated space for you to connect with other attendees and build lasting relationships with fellow computer science enthusiasts. Throughout this summit, you will interact with a number of subject knowledge experts, and if you wish to get a personalized one-on-one mentorship session or get your queries addressed, you can book a slot with them by visiting their Nbyula profile. We believe that this session will enhance your learning experience and help you achieve your study abroad goals. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the summit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CompSci360, the ultimate virtual summit for MS in Computer Science in the UK. I am Sadhana, part of the Nebula Engagement and Marketing team, and I'll be your host today. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. And in this talk, we'll be discussing the do's and the don'ts of the Commonwealth Scholarship. But before we dive into the details, let me introduce you to Nebula and how we can help you achieve your international study and work aspirations. At Nebula, we strive to bring about transparency, accessibility, and awareness to everything related to international studies and work. And we do that by connecting international students, alumni, scholars, and experts from every related field to provide you with the resources and experienced insights that you need to make informed decisions about your education and career. Now, CompSci 360 is a summit organized by Nebula specifically for students aspiring to study Masters in Computer Science programs in the UK. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and resources that will help you succeed in this. Now, before we get started, a general instruction is to make sure you're sitting in a quiet area with a stable internet connection. And if you have any question at any point during the session, please feel free to drop them in the comment section, in the chat box, and they will be answered in the end of the session when there will be a Q&A that goes on. So without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Please welcome Taniya Das, who is an MSc in Advanced Computer Science student in the University of Oxford and a Commonwealth Scholar. She will provide you all with valuable insights on the Commonwealth Scholarship, including the eligibility criteria, application process, and tips to write a winning scholarship application. Tanya will also share his personal experiences and provide guidance on how to avoid common mistakes that increase the chances. So, Tanya, before we jump into the topic of Commonwealth Scholarship, we'd like to hear a little bit more about your journey. So, could you please tell us a little bit about your journey so far?
Sure. First of all, Sadhna, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to join the talk and answer your questions. So, coming back to my background, I did my bachelor's in electronics and communications engineering from NIT Bhopal. Then I went on to join TCS Research. I was a researcher there at the Embedded Systems and Robotics Lab. During my time there, I worked largely on antennas, mathematical modeling, signal processing, and machine learning, which I quite enjoyed a lot of the work there. And because of that, I decided to pursue a master's to further my knowledge in those areas. ML was one of the subjects I was focusing on and was interested on, and I started looking for courses which could provide me CS fundamental knowledge and at the same time impart me some machine learning knowledge as well. And then I realized that UK was a good choice at that time because, of course, UK hosts some of the highest rank universities in the world, and at the same time they also provide a lot of scholarships, and it's really possible to get a fully funded master's degree there, which I quite like the idea and went on. I applied to University of Oxford, and fortunately I got in and also got funded by the Commonwealth Scholarship to pursue my master's there. So that was basically my
That's
journey
great.
to. Thanks.
That's great. We're really excited to, hear everything that you have to offer to us today. So let's just dwell in. And my first question to you is, if you could provide us with a brief overview of what Commonwealth Scholarship is, and what sort of motivated you to choose Commonwealth Scholarship over the other options.
Yeah, sure. So Commonwealth Scholarship is a group of scholarship. It is provided by the UK government FCDO to pursue various courses in UK university. One of the eligibility criteria is that you have to be from a Commonwealth nation and will not be able to afford that study otherwise without the scholarship. India is a Commonwealth nation, so every Indian citizen is eligible for the Commonwealth Scholarship. Now, Commonwealth provides fully funded scholarships. There is a range of scholarship. You can get it for masters. Unfortunately, Indians are not eligible for a PhD scholarship anymore. There's a distance learning scholarship and some other scholarship, which I would strongly advise you to look at. The scholarships aim or enable individual to gain knowledge and skills which are required to for sustainable development in their home countries. I was awarded the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship, which is aimed at supporting 1 year master's program at the UK university. It's a fully funded scholarship. That means they provide you with the full tuition fee. They provide you stipend every month, and then they take care of other small expenses like your travel expense, your thesis allowance, and some other things as well. And also, they take care of the whole visa procedure, the fees, and health surcharge as well. Well, that's the gist about Commonwealth Scholarship. Now, coming to the motivation about it, um, Commonwealth Scholarship had a lot of unique features which other scholarship might or might not provide. One of them, of course, is you get to be a part of a very big, diverse community of scholars from different countries, and being a part of the university really makes you feel homely in a foreign country and learn a lot of new things from other people. In fact, before reaching Oxford or UK, I did not knew anyone from UK in general, and that was the only community or only friends I had whom I could go to and talk about things. So that's the big advantage. Another thing is that CSC or Commonwealth Scholarship Commission provides a lot of networking opportunities. They have so many events almost every month where you can go and meet not only scholars from other universities and other fields, but also many eminent leaders from those fields. And you get to learn from their experience, talk to them one on one, and that's a great opportunity I guess you wouldn't otherwise find. They also provide mentorship, so you get paired with Commonwealth alumni. So I got paired with a professor who was a Commonwealth alumni as well, and professor in machine learning now. And as you can see, that really helped me go through my course. It really provided me some academic support. Um, so yeah, these are all the major advantages, and of course the financial support, which is much needed. So this all makes Commonwealth Scholarship a really good scholarship.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds like something exactly what everybody wants. So now that we've spoken about what Commonwealth Scholarship is, let's move on to the selection process. So during your selection process for the Commonwealth Scholarship, what were some of the most significant obstacles or the difficulties that you encountered, and how were you able to manage or navigate through them?
Sure. So I feel one of the difficult points of the scholarship is that it's a lengthy process. The application form is very lengthy, and you have to spend a lot of time on it, pondering on the questions they have provided and answering them properly. So I guess the lengthy application process and those questions make it really difficult because you cannot just answer them in a day. You have to really understand what your aim is, what you want from this course, and what you'll do after studying it, and have a good plan about it. And this overall makes the process a bit more difficult. So to navigate through it, uh, I think I would suggest everyone to have a good time, start on time the application, um, go through the question again and again, and try to understand what exactly it's trying to ask. Don't while answering the question, don't just beat around here and there. You have to be on point. You need to have a story of why you are doing what you are doing and what you plan to do later on. So to navigate well, because that was my first time applying to such scholarship, so I might not have done all the things, but I did go through my answers again and again. I asked my seniors from college to maybe go through them and give me their perspective of what they think about my answers. Um, and I also there are several social media groups like on Facebook, through which you can be connected to other Commonwealth scholars, and they also keep you posted about the timeline and what's happening and what stage they are in, so that helps, that quite helps as well.
Mhm, mhm. That's
Yeah.
quite a journey. So, now that we know about, the common obstacles people may face and how to navigate through them, let's talk about, some tips probably now. So, based on your experience as a Commonwealth scholar, what tips could you give aspiring Commonwealth scholars for, creating a strong application that would stand out from the competition?
Yeah, sure. So, so the first thing I would suggest anyone to for even if this scholarship or any other scholarship is to first go through their selection criteria. All these scholarships and Commonwealth as well mention a good selection criteria on their website. I would suggest everyone to go through it so that very carefully, so that they understand what they are looking for in an aspirant, and if they match those qualities, or if they are also looking for something uh, in that direction, and so that if it's a good fit for them even before applying. Because once you go through the selection criteria, you would also kind of understand what they are looking for in the candidate and how you should answer their questions. And so,
Mhm,
for example, their application process mainly focuses on three major things. The first one is your plan of study in the UK and how will you use this time in UK to better yourself. The second thing
mhm,
they focus on is the impact you will make to your home country to your home country and in general in global level after you finish your study. And then thirdly is academic merit. So these three things
mhm,
they focus on while reading any applicant's application.
mhm, mhm,
So in each of their answer, you have to show these things. You have to have you have to show that you have a good academic track record, so that they understand that you work hard and you are serious about studies, and they are not wasting, and you will not be wasting the opportunity given by the CSC. Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, yeah, these are the major tips, I guess, anyone should focus.
Yeah. So, while we are still talking about the selection criteria or what the selected panel would want to look at in a candidate's profile, you did say that academic merit is one of the important things they look for. So, in your opinion, if somebody is not having a great profile, like at this point, they cannot really go back and change that. But what are the other things they can do to sort of balance that out if their academic scores are not that good?
Yeah. I get your question. What they mean by academic excellence in general is that, of course, it's good to have good marks, but not everyone can have it. Um, you have to show that if you do not have a good marks, you did some other things to compensate for that. For example, you weren't really interested in that subject, or in general in other things, but you were interested in that project and you spent all your time on it and made something useful out of it. So you really have to justify that if they take a bet on you, if they give you an opportunity by giving you a scholarship, you won't waste it, because you have been consistent in your work, be showing it by just by your grades, or by doing other voluntary work, or by doing other good projects or things like that.
Mhm. So, moving on to the next question. What are some key differences between the Commonwealth Scholarship and the other, top tier prestigious scholarships? What makes Commonwealth Scholarship stand out among the others, if it does?
Well, Yeah, sure. So, well, Commonwealth Scholarship do have some similarities, but if I talk about key differences, one of the major one I would say, as I mentioned in my earlier answer, is the networking opportunity. A lot of the other scholarships do provide networking, but that's only limited to being among the other scholars. So you maybe meet people from your same university in that scholarship group, or you meet people from other universities in that scholarship group, and it's limited to that.
Mhm.
But it's really commendable that Commonwealth Commission really makes an effort to take it to another level. Um, Almost every month or two we have regional Commonwealth group. For example, my university has its own University of Oxford Commonwealth group, which where we used to meet and have and maybe for networking or for other social events. um, at the same time, they used to organize other events. For example, I was invited to a parliamentary meetup where we met other parliamentarians, heard from them what their plans are, especially related to the field of education. We met other eminent personalities like directors of Royal Commission, or we met people from Commonwealth Group of Association, their head directors, and what they think about current education system, what they want to do, and at the same time, we also get a chance to give them some uh, some feedback of what we want or what we are looking for. Um, uh, so this all these things. For example, I met a lady. She was retired at that time, but she used to work at IBM. She said she was among the only female working in computer science at IBM at that time. So all these things, all these exposure really helps you grow in your professional career. It helps build good networks, which might be useful later on. So I think this is the area where Commonwealth really makes an effort um, to improve your personality, and help you grow.
My question was, how did you, how did you prepare yourself for the interview stage of the Commonwealth selection process? And if you could also share about some of the challenging questions that were, put across to you and how you tackled them.
Oh, sure. So actually, this was the fun part during my batch. We did not have an interview. We got to skip the interview directly. I wasn't sure of the reason, but probably because that was a major COVID time, so I did not have to go through it. So unfortunately, I won't be able to provide you um, any experience in that.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Let's move on to the next question then. So, how did you decide which universities or programs to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship, and what factors did you consider while you were choosing?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing I wanted to make sure of is which country I want to go to, and choose a university based on that. So I think I wanted to go to an English speaking country because it just makes it easier. I don't have to learn a new language.
Mm-hmm.
And among that, UK was a good choice because, of course, it had good bunch of universities and also these scholarships,
Mm-hmm.
which I might not get in other universities or other countries. So after choosing UK, I went on to. So honestly, I did not knew a lot about other universities. The only university I knew about at that time was Oxford and Cambridge. So I started searching through their courses, what course do they offer, what subjects do they teach, and do they align with me. I went through it through Oxford and Cambridge master's program. One thing I had clear in my mind, that because I know I will only be later on, I'll only be going to one university, so there's no point of applying to a lot of them. One or two is sufficient as long as I make a good application. So I decided to take a risk. I did not like there was some differences in the course in Oxford and Cambridge. I liked the Oxford course more. And I decided to go with it and only applied to Oxford University.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and luckily I got through it. But in general, I would suggest that don't apply to a lot of universities, because then you'll be confused of what to choose later on, and also you have to spend a lot of time applying to them. Rather focus on some selected ones.
Mhm.
Um, what I had in my mind was that if I don't go through Oxford, I still had a couple of universities at hand whose deadline was later on.
Mhm.
So once I get my results, if I don't go through it, I was ready to apply to other universities.
Mhm.
This is something you can use.
Now, speaking in a general sense, what are some absolute don'ts that you would suggest somebody who's applying for a Commonwealth scholarship?
Well, talking about absolute don'ts, I think first major thing is to avoid plagiarism. I
Mhm.
mean, they are very harsh about it. Even if you think that they are not going to run it through some plagiarism software,
Mhm.
even if that the selection committee, the interviewers, because we have met them now, they
Mhm.
are very experienced. They have been reading these applications for years and years now. They are very good at their field. So even if they don't make it go through some machine, they still would know that it's plagiarized or the ideas are plagiarized, and that's a big throw off. You will certainly be disqualified. So that's a major no.
Mhm.
Um, Second thing is repetition. So because their questions are very broad, you have to really understand what you are trying to answer in that question and not repeat it in some other questions, because
Mhm.
I think it really throws off the reviewer when you repeat certain things in your answer or just copy paste it, and really shows a lack of effort from your side. So once, because they have a bunch of questions in their application, go through it and sort of try to make a story out of it where you don't have to repeat things again and again.
Mhm.
And someone reading it would understand where you are coming from and what you are trying to say in that application.
Mhm.
And then I think a very basic thing is, because the application is in English,
Mhm.
um, try to have correct. I mean, it's not necessary that it should be a very good English, but the grammar should be correct. That's the basic minimum they would expect. Go through, make your application go through softwares like Grammarly to check
Mhm.
for grammar and be careful about it.
Mhm.
And last thing is, make sure that you are eligible, your course and your university is eligible for that particular scholarship. They give you three options to select three different universities and course. So select it beforehand and make sure that it's eligible for that scholarship.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Those are some of those seem very basic, but they're very important. And thank you for stressing on those. So, like we know that the Commonwealth Scholarship is provided for students who want to go back to their home country and do something. In case a Commonwealth scholar wants to stay back in the UK, so are there options? Is there something they can do? If you could throw some light on it.
Yeah. So Commonwealth is absolutely, so it from the beginning it's very clear that they want you to cultivate skills so that you can help in development in your country. So they really want you to go back, and I don't, unless you decide to do another degree, you decide to do a PhD later on, you are
Mhm.
not allowed to stay there after you finish your course and work. So you have to come back. So if it doesn't align with your goals, I would suggest to look for other scholarships.
Mhm.
Unless you decide to do a PhD after masters or after the scholarship year, you aren't allowed to stay there. I'm not sure if any other scholarships make any other visa makes you eligible to stay there, but in general, you are not allowed to work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Before we move on to the questions from the audience, Tanya, are there any bonus tips you want to give the viewers?
For the bonus, I would really stress again to that you should go through the selection criteria and answer the questions accordingly. Also, I would really suggest them to understand what the restrictions are while you are on a Commonwealth scholarship, and if it's aligned with your ideas or the things you want, and
Mhm.
apply according to that.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for the bonus tip. Now, let's move on to certain questions the audience may have. The question says, what happens if we fail an exam as a Commonwealth scholar?
Um, Good question. So whosoever has asked it, first of all, I would say don't be so nervous. In case you really fail an exam, that's fine. Uh, you can always. So what I think what Commonwealth says it, I might not be completely correct about it. But what it says is that you in general have to overall fail, overall pass your degree, otherwise they'll stop the scholarship if they feel that you are not putting enough effort, which mean if your university or your supervisor communicates that some that you are not putting enough efforts and you are not attending classes, and you are deliberately failing, then they will stop your scholarship, and that could happen. But to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard it. One of the good thing about UK universities is that they are very supportive. You can always walk to your university, your supervisor, your members in other college. There is good welfare group who helps you, support you. uh, they have various mental health sessions you can go through and seek support. So in case something bad happens, there's always support available by the CSC wellness team and through your university as well. But I guess if you don't put enough effort and you deliberately fail, there's a possibility that they will stop your scholarship. But don't worry about that, I would say.
I mean, what is an ideal thing that somebody could do if suddenly their scholarship is stopped? I mean, you're in
Yeah,
a foreign country, and you know
yeah, of course.
that's
But
scary.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we all get scared, but you should know that there's ample support available there.
That's good.
They are very serious about mental health, and
Mhm,
they are ready to provide any support you seek.
mhm, mhm. That's great. So, moving on to the next question. What do you think sets successful scholarship applicants apart from those who are unsuccessful? And what can aspiring scholars do while they're still in college, maybe, to cultivate these qualities? I mean, I think we did discuss this when we discussed the questions, but if you have anything to add to the same, you can do that.
I think what sets a successful application apart, I will again stress on the points I've made earlier,
Mhm,
is that uh, your answers should speak through it. You should be able to convey why you are doing that degree, what made you decide to do that degree. It's not
mhm,
like you wake up one day and then feel that you want to do it because your peers are doing it. That's not the reason. So you should be able to justify what you have done in past have impacted your decision. um, and when you take that degree, uh, what are you planning to do after it? The questions ask what are you planning to do after a year, after 2 years, and after 5 years. So you
mhm.
should really have an idea, or at least have some plan or or a defined path what you are trying to achieve by going through that degree. So even if it's a degree like computer science, you should be able to talk in terms of the impact it will make. It's not only making you a software developer, but the impact it will have in general in the society, and in global terms as well. So that what sets a successful application apart. Students or aspirants who are clear about their path or plan, I think appeals more to the committee than those who aren't.
Yeah, that's great. So, moving on to another question: How is life for an international student at Oxford? I think they mean in terms of the cultural differences and a different system being followed there, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So from my experience, it could be different for others, but from my experience, the education system here is very different from UK in general.
Mhm.
They, especially in Oxford, you get to do a lot in academics, but at the same time they have a lot of social events to balance out. If I talk about the academics, all of the or most of the courses are very theoretical. Especially if I talk about my area of computer science, the courses
Mhm.
were quite theoretical. They make you understand the math behind it, which I think is quite useful um, later on, because you are very clear about the fundamentals. Um, at the same time, they also expect you to do a lot of self study. There are not a lot of lectures going on. There are only limited set of lectures, and then you are given good materials to go through and understand the things yourself.
Mhm.
um, Culturally or in general socially, I would say it's again very different. There is something or else going on at the university all the time, be it general parties or some competition or some club doing some social. There's always something going on, and there's something for everyone. If you have interest in some area, you would always find a club doing that thing, even if it's very basic. So that's a really good part. Also, I feel that people are really motivated about their hobbies and sports there, which is a really good thing.
Mhm.
People make an effort to give to have time to pursue those things, which is really great because it helps you balance, have a balance in your life. So I think these are some of the major changes I think I felt there.
Mhm.
I hope
Yeah,
I have questions.
yeah, you did cover. I mean, these are some, common cultural shocks we hear about, and for some people it's an adventure, but again, depends on how people take it.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have almost reached the end of the session, so maybe we can take one more question, which says, "What are the most common myths or misinformation students fall for about the Commonwealth Scholarship?"
Misinformation myths. I think the first one was about their timeline. It quite
Mhm.
changes every year. It was different in my year, then I guess it again changed. So
Mhm.
one of the misinformation is about their timeline. I advise everyone to go through their website and check when the applications open and not rely on what previous year was. Of course,
Mhm.
previous year gives you a basic idea of around what time it will start, but that's not necessary.
Mhm.
Um, I think another misinformation. So I wouldn't say it as a misinformation, but I think something you should be careful about is the LOR
Mhm.
during the Commonwealth Scholarship and during your application as well. That you should have your referees ready and have their
Mhm.
consent, so that you do not miss out on an opportunity just because the LOR wasn't submitted.
Mhm.
And be on time. Try to submit the application as early as you can,
Mhm.
and not wait till the nth moment.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, sorry, one another point I would like to add is that I think you need your acceptance while applying for scholarship,
Mhm.
which a lot of people do not know, but you need to have your acceptance.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I think these are really important that people know, because there's just a plethora of information lying around on the internet, and you don't know which of that is authentic, you don't know which of that is right. And I think what really helps is people listening from, people who have experience like you, who would have done it firsthand. So, because you'll be the ones who can give them the most reliable answers because you've already done it once. So, yep, those are very important, and thank you so much for touching upon those points. So, we have almost reached the end of today's talk, and it's been an amazing session with so much to take away from everything that we've spoken. And I'm sure even the audience have had a lot of their questions and queries resolved, and they've got so much to take back from this session. So thank you very, very much for taking time out of your schedule and joining with us today to, help the students out. And it was very, very, lovely to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, giving me this opportunity to talk about my experience. I really enjoyed talking to you about all these things, and I hope it really has helped. It really helped the future applicants, and all the best to all the applicants for your future.
The pleasure is all ours. Once again, thank you so much for joining, Tanya, and thank you so much, everybody, for being such a lovely audience. And see you all in the next talk.
Thank you, Sadhna. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to
Bye.
meet you. Bye.